In our previous video, we have studied sexual reproduction in flowering plants. And now we are going to learn sexual reproduction in human. These two may appear totally different, but the basic events of sexual reproduction, they are same in all flowering plant as well as in human. That is, as we have done in case of plant, number one, the process of gamete formation, that is gametogenesis, the process of gamete transfer, and third is fertilization, and the fourth is post-fertilization event. So all these events, they are same in the flowering plant, same in human. In human, there are primary and secondary sex organs in male as well as in female. Primary sex organs are called gonads. These are those organs which are directly involved in the gametogenesis process. These gonads, they produce gametes and they secrete sex hormones also. In male, these gonads are called testes, and testes produce the gametes, sperms. Female gonads are called ovaries, and these produce female gametes called ova or ovum or egg. Secondary sex organs are those organs which help in the transportation function, nutrition function, storage function, or the maturation of gametes. These are not directly involved in the formation of gametes. These are sperm duct, accessory glands, urethra in male, oviduct, uterus, vagina in female. Similarly, male and female both, they show primary as well as secondary sexual characters. Primary sexual characters are those with which a child is born, whereas secondary sexual characters, they develop only at the time of puberty. What is puberty? This is the age in male and female at which the reproductive organ with which a child is born become functional and start secreting sex hormones. So now you can say at puberty, boys and girls, they become sexually mature. Some of these secondary sexual characters in male are broadening of shoulders, enhanced muscle development, enlargement of the larynx. As a result, there is deepening of the voice, growth of pubic hairs, hairs on the face, in the armpit, and there is a sudden increase in the height. All these changes are because of the hormone testosterone secreted by gonad testes. Now, secondary sex characteristics in female are growth of breast and the external genitalia, growth of pubic hair, hair in the armpit, broadening of pelvis, a very important change, beginning of the menstruation and ovulation, increase in subcutaneous fat, especially in the thighs and the shoulders. Now let us study the structure of the male reproductive system. Male reproductive system, This is made up of a pair of testes that produce the male reproductive cells, which are called sperms, and they secrete the hormone testosterone. Testes, these are present in a sac-like structure called scrotum. Testes are not present in the abdomen. These are present in a separate sac, scrotum. Scrotum are extra abdominal. Now sometimes question is asked, why testes are present in a separate pouch? Why these are not present in the main abdominal cavity? Because the process of sperm maturation, it need a slightly less temperature than the normal body temperature. So scrotum, it provided that ideal temperature. In the embryonic stages, testes are present in the scrotum, and these are testes are present in the abdominal cavity only. It is only at the time of birth that these testes, they descend to the scrotum. Now from each testes, a tube, a duct arises. That is called vas deferens or the sperm duct. These two sperm ducts, they combine, they open into a common urethra. This urethra is enclosed into a highly muscular organ structure called penis. This penis is having an opening that is called genital pore. There are certain accessory glands also which are required for the proper functioning of the gametes. These are seminal vesicles and prostate glands. Both of these glands, they are producing the fluids which is providing nutrition. That is very important as a source of energy for the movement of the sperms. In this figure, you can study the structure. This is the scrotum pouch. In this scrotum pouch, these are testes. From these testes, these vas deferens or the sperm duct arise. Now, sperm duct and the urethra, the duct that is coming from the urinary bladder, it combine, and both of these, they open into a common urethra. Now this urethra is surrounded by a highly muscular structure. This is called penis, and this penis is having an opening at the tip. Sperms produced by the testes and the fluid produced by the seminal vesicles and the prostate glands are collectively known as semen. This is the front view of the male reproductive structure. This is the structure of the male gamete sperm. At a time, millions of sperms are produced in the male, in the testes. This is having a head region in which nucleus is there, a middle piece that is having a number of mitochondria that provide the energy for its movement, and a tail made up of flagella so that these sperms can move. The structure of the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system, this consists of a pair of ovaries. So the main gonads, there are ovaries. Ovaries produce the female reproductive cells called ova, egg, and simultaneously these are also producing the hormone estrogen. From this ovary, not from these rows, because these are not attached to the ovary. There are oviduct. There is always a certain gap in the oviduct and the ovaries. These are called fallopian tubes. Oviduct, they they're opening into a bag-like structure, a highly muscular structure called uterus. And the uterus is having an opening called vagina. Now these are ovaries, and you can see there's a certain gap between oviduct or the fallopian tube and ovaries. And fallopian tube from both the sides, they are opening into this muscular structure called uterus. The opening of the uterus is called cervix, and then again there is a muscular structure called vagina. This is representing the side view of the female reproductive system. Now, this structure represents the female gamete, ovum. The size of the ovum is much bigger than the size of the male gamete, sperm. During copulation, semen is deposited in the vagina by the male. This semen is having millions of sperms. Now these sperms, they travel through the cervix into the uterus, and from the uterus they enter into fallopian tube. Ovaries, they are releasing egg. These egg is captured by the fallopian tube. There are finger-like projection coming out of the fallopian tube. So these finger-like projection, they catches this egg, and now this egg is also transferred into the fallopian tube. Remember, at a time, millions of sperms are produced in the male, but in female, only one egg is discharged by the ovary, either of the ovary, either the left ovary or the right ovary. In one menstrual cycle or one ovarian cycle. The duration of one ovarian cycle is 28 days. This is approximately, in some female this cycle can be of 26 days, or in some it can be of 30 days. So now egg is there in the fallopian tube, and this is surrounded by number of sperms. We are discussing the situation when ovum is also there and sperms are also there, because there is a possibility that sperms are there in the fallopian tube but ovum is not there. Out of those million of sperms, only one sperm, it gains the entry into the female egg. Now this egg is having 23 chromosomes, this sperm is having 23 chromosomes. So when fusion of this nucleus, that is the nucleus of the ovum and nucleus of the sperm, occurs, this event is called fertilization, the fusion of male and female gamete. Actually, this is the fusion of male and female nuclei, and it results in the restoration of 46 chromosome or 23 pairs of chromosome. And now this single cell structure that is formed is called zygote. From this single cell zygote, complete body of the baby is going to be formed, that is having trillion and trillions of the cell. This zygote starts dividing within the fallopian tube. First of all, this will divide into a 2-cell stage, then into 4-cell, then into 8-cell, then into a group of cell. This group of cell is called morula, because it is a mulberry-like structure. That is why this is called morula. Now this morula further descend into uterus, and now this get attached to the wall of the uterus, When it gets attached to the wall of the uterus, the uterine wall surround it from all the sides and it get engulfed into that uterine lining. Now this process of attachment of the blastula, the next stage of the morula, blastula to the uterine wall is called implantation. After implantation, now this division process and the growth process becomes faster. And another structure that develops after implantation is placenta. This embryo is developing into a cavity called amniotic cavity. And uterine wall, they are at a distance from this developing embryo. So this embryo is connected to the mother uterine wall, mother circulation through a cord-like structure that is called umbilical cord. And this, the intimate connection between the uterine wall and the embryonic tissue is called placenta. From placenta, this cord that connect to the embryo, developing embryo, is called the umbilical cord. And this intimate connection is placenta. Now the mother circulation and this growing embryo circulation, they are directly connected with each other. Now these are the various stages of the human embryonic and the fetal development. Till morula, these events are going on in the fallopian tube only. Then it start moving down in the uterus. Blastocyst is the stage by which it get implanted into the uterine wall. Then placenta formation occur. Then an umbilical cord develop. And now these are the different stages. The total time period from the fertilization till the complete development of the fetus and then the baby is called gestation period. This gestation period in human being, in Homo sapien, is 280 days. This gestation period differs species to species. When baby is fully formed, then the muscles of the uterus start contracting very fast. That is called labor pain. This labor pain is initiated by secretion of certain hormones. So now the opening of the uterus, cervix, dilates and a passage is created. By that passage, this baby comes out. This is the condition when fertilization occurs. When egg is there and it is surrounded by the sperms, then there is a possibility that one of the sperm may fuse with the egg, fertilization occurs, zygote form, and then a sequence of events that result in the birth of a baby. But what happens when egg is there but sperms are not there or fertilization doesn't occur? I have informed you in the previous slide that one of the ovary, either the left or the right, is producing one egg every month or in every ovarian cycle. And when this egg is discharged from the ovary, there is a possibility that if sperms are there, then fertilization can occur. And if fertilization will occur, then those sequence of events will start. So uterus also starts preparing itself for the implantation process. And for this process, its wall becomes thick, its wall becomes spongy. Blood vessels, they increases in this wall because they are going to nourish the embryo in case fertilization, implantation and the placenta formation occur. But if there is no process of fertilization, maybe sperms are not there or sperms are there in any case, if fertilization doesn't occur, then it means implantation will also not occur and there is no use of those thick and spongy wall. So this uterine wall breaks and come out of the vagina in the form of blood and mucus. This is called menstruation. This flow of blood and mucus, it remains for approximately 4-5 days. And after that, now again a new cycle will begin. So this whole cycle is called menstrual cycle or the ovarian cycle. In this figure, we can observe the different events of the menstrual cycle. First to 5 or 6 days, it may be 4, it may be 6. The uterine lining is shed because there was no process of fertilization and implantation. Now after this menstrual phase, now the uterine wall again starts to grow for the probability of future fertilization or implantation. On the 14th day of the next phase, a mature egg is again released from the ovary and this process is called ovulation process. If there are no sperms, then no fertilization, and sometimes there is also possibility that sperms are there. Even in that case also there is no guarantee that fertilization will occur. So any case, if there is no fertilization, then this egg is going to die. The lining of the uterus, they continue to get thickened. But when this egg dies, this process cannot continue for long. So ultimately, this uterus lining is shed and a new menstrual cycle starts. This whole cycle is well regulated by many hormones. When we study reproduction, then the study of reproductive health is also very important, especially for the adolescent, because these adolescents, they are going to be the future citizen of the country. In reproductive health, two important topics are STD and the contraception. There are many diseases which are transmitted through the sexual contact. These diseases may be due to the transmission of the bacteria or maybe virus. Two common bacterial infections that spread through STD, sexual contact are gonorrhea and syphilis. And two viral infections are genital warts and HIV or AIDS. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So if a person is having information about these diseases, these can be easily prevented or treated. Contraception. The best way to control the population explosion is the use of contraceptive. By the use of contraceptive, unwanted pregnancy can be avoided. So the three main methods that we are going to study are barrier method, chemical method, and surgical method. Barrier methods are condom, diaphragm, and cervical caps. Condoms, they do not allow. Condoms may be the male condoms, it can be the female condoms. Condoms do not allow male and the female genital organ to come in direct contact with each other. As a result, the spread of STD is also prevented. So the only method that can prevent, only contraceptive method that can prevent the spread of STD is the use of mechanical barrier, that is condoms. Copper T is exactly not the barrier method, it is intrauterine device, IUD. Copper T is implanted in the uterus and it releases copper ion. These copper ion, they decrease the motility, they decrease the movement of the sperm. They don't allow the sperm to reach to the fallopian tube. So copper T is not preventing the spread of STD. Chemical method include oral pills, vaginal pills. These are combination of hormones. Surgical method. Surgical methods include surgery. In this method, a small part of the vas deferens or a small part of the fallopian tube is either tied or cut. When it is tied with small thread, then it is reversible, but when it is cut, that is irreversible. So this surgery or the cutting of the vas deferens is called vasectomy, and the cutting of the fallopian tube is called tubectomy.